Two Poor Bastards contains explicit content and drunken rambling. Listener discretion is advised. You were listening to Two Poor Bastards. This is our second take on the movie Predators. This is Eric.
Kyle.
And we are going... What the hell was that?
That was me being a robot like what we were doing earlier. Instead of doing the end. All right, this is and Kyle.
God. That's amazing. So we're going to get into 2010's Predators. So we've already talked about Predator 1. I'll let you take it off here. What is...
Okay, so going through the Predator stuff, you know, this is technically the third movie in the series. Kind of bypasses both the Alien versus Predator garbage movies. A lot of people didn't like Predators, but I'd say as, you know, working within its universe as a sequel, I thought it worked well. Like, I am okay with this being part of the Predator universe.
I second the notion, actually.
I mean, maybe I don't really agree with where they took the story, but I think it worked. And Adrian Brody,
Holy shit.
He did well, and he really fucking got buffed up for the movie, too.
That dude scary as fuck in that movie.
The only thing that I don't like about him in that movie is his Batman voice.
I was going to mention, like, he was just trying to be Christian Bale the whole time in that movie. A less angry Christian Bale.
I wonder if they approached Christian Bale and they couldn't get him, so somehow they ended up with Adrian Brody, and they were like, do your best Christian Bale for the movie.
That's the only job requirement. And he's like, no, I can get buff. See, look at me, I'm buff. No, we only want you to do the Batman voice.
So, yeah, I was okay with that. It being on another planet, kind of an interesting choice. That's maybe the biggest issue I have with the movie.
You know why I think it works so well? It adds to the timelessness factor. It makes you question when it takes place. So it's another, if you were to place it, if you're just to do a regular jungle again, that's just a total rehash. But if you put it on an alien planet and kind of make it the game preserve sort of idea, it's a slight twist without being a total ripoff.
So it's, yeah, instead of the hunters going to the prey, the hunters bring the prey somewhere.
You know what my biggest problem with that movie is? The ultra predator. Like the elite predator in that. I don't understand why there has to be a better predator than the predator.
Yeah, here's the ultimate predator, but here's the ultimate predator.
And I didn't like the design so much of them either.
No, I didn't either.
When I saw the classic predator hanging on a thing, I'm like, fuck yeah. Because it looks, whatever it is about that design, it looks good on screen no matter what time, if we're seeing it in 86 or if we're seeing it now.
Dreadlocks are eternal. They work in all ages. On all ages.
On all ages. So, a little bit of background about this. So, it's directed by Nimrod Antal. And he is a Hungarian-American director, actor, screenwriter. What's interesting about this is it was actually initially developed by Robert Rodriguez. He had written a draft in 1994 while working on Desperado, turned it in. They decided initially to not go with it because they're going the Alien versus Predator bullshit, which is a total dumpster fire, obviously. And then they looped back around and they asked him about it, and he kind of dusted it off and they started developing it again. So when they initially announced it, it was assumed that Robert Rodriguez would direct it.
And then that's what I was really pumped about, too, when it first was announced.
It's kind of like I heard about it, it's like Alien 5. Initially, it was going to be dude from South Africa, and then we get instead... So we get Ridley Scott returning to it, and we get Prometheus instead. Or is Prometheus... I don't remember the timeline. Either Alien 5 was supposed to take place after Prometheus or Alien 5 was supposed to take place, and then Ridley Scott came back and said, I want my shit back, which I think they should have let dude do his version, because everything that I saw on it, I'm like, I want this in my life.
Yeah.
But so it was kind of a left hook. Like, I initially had heard about the, I suppose, reboot, if you will, and I was about Robert Rodriguez doing it. I thought, I like a lot of his movies. And then...
Yeah, if it would have been anything like Planet Terror. Then fuck to the yeah.
Yes. Yeah, a lot of people throw a shitload of shade at that movie, and I really liked it.
It was, okay, as far as... We're going off the tracks here, but as far as the Grindhouse movies, it was way better than Death Proof. Death Proof was a piece of shit. And I am a Tarantino fan. I hate that movie.
Yeah, it just isn't. It's not good. So, anyways, so to have Nimrod Antel, it was a little bit of like a sucker punch, like, oh, it's going to be directed by this dude.
Nameless person who we don't really know what they've done before.
Or really after. He did have one movie to his credit that he got a lot of acclaim for in native Hungary, although he's actually not native to Hungary. His parents are Hungarian. Then he went to college in film school in Hungary, made a movie there, then came back. But I'm not really sure. He's done one other movie, and I don't know what it is, to be honest with you. So this movie's got Adrian Brody, as you said. It's got Topher Grace, Alice Braga, my man, Walton Goggins.
Yes.
He scene stealer in this movie. Lawrence Fishburne, Danny Trejo, and the other dude who's now like has a bunch of critical acclaim. He was played in Luke Cage, the first season's villain. He's got a really long name. I can't pronounce it. It's like something Ali. Tahajawa Baba something.
Hold on.
I'm a terrible person. I know this. This dude, he's a very good actor. But can you...
Mahershala?
Right?
I'm probably just completely ruining his name.
Exactly.
Ali.
It
was the last
Great
name.
actor. And he was good at everyone. Again, another one of those ensemble casts that I think works really well. Topher Grace kind of annoys the shit out of me. And you know what? I never realized that about that motherfucker. He's like cross-eyed. Like if you watching the movie,
I didn't notice that at all when I was watching.
There's something about his like the creep factor. It works. Like
maybe that was on purpose to up the creep factor.
I know there's just something I didn't know. I just give me more Walton Goggins talking about his sister, and less Topher Grace being whatever the hell he is. Or what is it? I'm trying to think of words, and I'm failing terribly. The exposition
you sound
teller.
Like you need some whiskey.
I'm going to need some whiskey, and we're holding off on this. So it was done for $40 million, which for 2010 money, that's nothing.
It's not
made $127 million. So that is enough to justify a true and proper sequel to that movie. It evaporated. Nothing ever came of it. And I would have seen a sequel to that movie. Honestly, I enjoyed it. As you said, there's a few things that are kind of interesting where you kind of like, huh? But as far as the direction, it's a solid action movie. Mm-hmm. It has its own... I would say that it's missing some of the wink that the first Predator has. Like it's got this, like the first Predator has like a certain sparkle to it, like a little sparkle in its eye, whereas this one not as much.
This is the rundown like person sitting in the gutter.
But yeah, Adrian Brody totally sells his character. He's fucking a total beast in this.
So surprising.
The only thing, again...
That's what you call an actor. Right there.
Well, he does have an Academy Award, so there is that. It's, I am overall...
You can go from a piano-playing nerd to a special forces jacked up dude who can kill a predator.
Yeah.
It's good for you.
Good for you. Good for you. And he's, I think he's kind of kept a low profile since then. He's been in a few things. I think he's in Peaky Blinders now, maybe. I thought I saw a thing on Netflix where he's in that now. But Lawrence Fishburne doing whatever the fuck he's doing. I think he's a little overacting in this movie. Like, I don't know that you would lose your shit that much.
Well, who knows? You haven't been in that situation to
No,
know.
you're right. But, like, let's say you're in the military. You're trained for a particular kind of stress level, right? You don't get to be in special forces or any of these kind of elite things or a pilot without being able to handle high stress situations for long periods of time and being able to navigate unknown terrain. So for me, he's been there 20 years. I suppose the loneliness would get to me, and you maybe go like Castaway, sort of crazy, and start talking to shit. But there's something about like Lawrence Fishburne trying to chew as much scenery as possible in the short period of time he's in it. He's a great actor, so that's why I'm being a little more critical on him in this.
Do you think it was like that was having him in the movie and hamming it up was like a way to get more audience?
I think so. I think they probably try to get some bigger names. Like, hey, come show up to the movie set for 2 days. We'll pay you $3 million.
Mm-hmm.
We just want your name attached to this thing. But I just
was kind of an unnecessary character.
We could have had, like, I think Peter Stormare would have been a much better version of that character than him playing it. Like,
there's a lot of people who probably could have done it better.
Yeah, it isn't suited to him, I would say, for what it was. He doesn't necessarily play crazy that well or unhinged. He plays dangerous, definitely, but not that. Anyways, so there's I have a few gripes with the movie overall, but again, I love Walton Goggins in this movie. It's like he's so perfect.
He definitely was, like, you don't get the one-liner factor, really, but you get him being funny in the movie.
Right. Absolutely. And also the guy who plays the Yakuza guy. Like, again, each one of these characters are distinct upon whatever culture or criminal element or military element. You totally believe all of their backgrounds. And you really do believe, like, when I saw that movie in theaters and I was like, what the fuck is Topher Grace doing in this situation? I didn't initially assume that twist. Usually I feel that, like, I can kind of catch where something's going to come from if there's going to be a surprise. So him being a serial killer was like, oh, okay. But then again, they tried to, like, bat him up in Spider-Man 3, and that ended up being a total fucking shit show. The first Venom, the worst Venom.
Yes.
What the actual fuck? What a sadness.
I've did a really good job blocking the memory of that movie, and now you just brought it all back to me again.
Do you have PTSD because of that movie?
I think so. We
will no longer speak of said thing. We will block it from all further conversations because I don't blame you. So I don't, what else can we add to the subject of Predators? It's a solid movie. I would say it's a 7 overall.
As a person who is like a rabid, diehard Predator fan, I'm definitely okay with it.
Yeah.
I'm all right with it being there. I'm not okay really with the first Alien versus Predator movie. And the second one almost felt like an apology for that, as like they just killed everything in the movie. But like those aside could go right in the trash.
Absolutely.
And stay there forever. But I will let Predators sit there.
Yeah. I really feel that Predators could stay in it. I don't think that you need to write around it. That's really the big thing in vogue now is we're revisiting more and more franchises, and they're writing around unfavored sequels, creating more and more bizarre timelines and, making things more difficult.
Difficult enough. Don't make it more difficult.
So, if that's all we have to say to that, let's wrap this bitch up.
We're wrapped up.
All right, so this is our second take on Predators. This is Eric.
This is Kyle.
Next time.
Bye.